guys, it's Julia and welcome back to my channel, and for today's video I'm going to be doing the Criminal Minds book tag. And if you didn't know, Criminal Minds been like my favorite show since I was like 10 or 9. I don't know, I started watching it at a really young age. But Kayla tagged me to do this. I'll have her channel linked down below. She's wonderful. I was like, yes, if I knew this existed, I would have done it already. So without further ado, let's get into the questions. Hotchner, a book with an extremely reliable or responsible character. I'm going to be going with Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird. He's very responsible and has a good way of handling certain situations. The book takes place during the Great Depression, and we follow Scout and Jem, the two children growing up in kind of a very discriminatory place, and it has a lot to do with African American and white people and kind of how the black people were treated and all that jazz. But it was a really good book. If you haven't read it, I would definitely recommend it. Jace and Gideon, a book with a passionate or caring character. It was actually surprisingly kind of hard, which is kind of sad. Or at least I just nothing was coming to my head at the moment. I'm going to be going with Jules from the Visions trilogy by Lisa McMann. This is actually book 3 called Gasp. And these were some of the first YA books that I read, and like I adore them when I read them. They hold a very special place in my heart. If I read them now, erase my memory and read them now, I probably wouldn't feel the same about them, but I loved them when I read them. And the main character in here, Jules, she's very selfless, and she always puts other people before herself, and she always tries to help other people. Reid, my fave, a socially awkward character. Basically, I went with Deanne from The Girl in 6E because she doesn't leave her apartment. She hasn't left it in a long time because she wants to kill people when she leaves. So she kind of stays in there. And if you threw her into a social setting, I'm sure she'd be very awkward. Like, very awkward. And she'd probably just want to kill them. So in conclusion, socially awkward-esque. Yeah, and this is an erotic thriller. It's basically a mash between Dexter and 50 Shades of Grey. So if you're into that, check it out. Dereck Morgan, another of my faves, but they took him off the show, which makes me sad because he's been on there for like ever. An athletic character. Kayla had this answer too, and that was Mitri from the Vampire Academy series. And I'm holding up Frostbite, the second book, and in the first 2 books, he's just always doing things, and he's helping train Rose, and it's just, he's so athletic. I'm like, really? But basically, if you don't know, the series is about vampires at a boarding school, and there's different classes of vampires, and it's like a lot better than it sounds. It's not as cheesy as it sounds. I was pleasantly surprised. Jennifer Giroux, a book with a strong mother figure. Why was this so hard to come up with? Like, when I thought of strong mother figure, nothing came to my head except for like Calpurnia from To Kill a Mockingbird, but I didn't want to repeat myself, so I kind of found something. Basically, I'm going to be going with The Crown by Kiera. Hold up. So I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm going to try to keep this as vague as possible, but basically the mothers in this book you see as teens in the trilogy. So some of them you see as some of the teens from the first trilogy you see in the later books and as their moms, and they just seem like really cool moms. Garcia, another one of my favorites, and this is basically a book with a technology inclined character. Find Me by Romily Bernard. And this is basically the girl Wick in this book. She is a hacker and she knows how to do all the stuff on the computer, which is so freaking cool. And not that hacking and doing illegal stuff is cool, but just, that they know how to do the coding and, a technology inclined character. Emily Prentice, a book with a sarcastic character. This one was so easy. Jace from the Shadowhunter Chronicles. I'm holding up City of Ashes, the second book, but if you don't know what the Mortal Instruments is about, I talk about them all the time, and so do a lot of people on BookTube, so I don't think I have to explain them to you, but they're amazing. It's one of my favorite series. Yeah, I want to reread them too. Rossi, a book with an old-fashioned main character. Basically, I went with Lady Trent by A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Breenan. And basically this, not just the character is old-fashioned, but it takes place in like an older time period, and it's just like written very much like a it's written really like kind of dense and like with the whole old-fashioned kind of feel to it. It was like, I don't know, it's like Jane Austen meets dragons, and that I'm just like, no thanks. But the story in general was old-fashioned, and usually I love books like that, but I didn't like this one. Baby Girl, a book with a strong friendship between the opposite genders. For this, I'm going to be going with This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. Basically, Kate Harker and August Flynn are both from different, basically one of them's a human, one of them's a monster, and they form an unlikely friendship. And it's so lovely. I'll have my review linked up for this book on the screen, but I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed their dynamic together and their friendship, and yeah. Anyways, I'll see y'all very soon with a new video. Thank you so much for watching. Much appreciated. Bye.